So you admitted you were dual national. I didn't see that one coming. I thought when you admitted that you were going to say US-Mexico. No. Can we talk about that, Landon? I feel like we need to talk
Did you
about that.
practice that on the flight over?
No, I'm sure everybody here has got thoughts about Landon and his promotion for Mexico. 2018 World Cup, let's set the scene.
All right, let's get it all
USA
out.
doesn't make it. Landon decides to pledge his
Therapy.
allegiance to the Concacaf rivals, Mexico. Was it just a money thing?
Partially.
That's
Partially.
honest.
Like 80%,
Okay.
90%?
No. I mean, it wasn't life-changing.
Okay.
But you guys, I see the world differently in a lot of ways. I think people have realized that. During World Cups, I'm not ashamed to say I root for CONCACAF teams, other than the US, if we're not in it or if we're not playing each other. I do. I think that's good for our region. I think that's good for soccer here. Aside from that, I grew up with Mexicans. All Mexicans. And so the weird part for me has been during my career, I was always at odds with the Mexican national team, but that always got perceived as being at odds with Mexicans or Mexican people. But the rivalry was between me and the Mexican national team and a number of their players. So I've always known what that was. But I think from a public perception and the way human beings want to pit people against each other, it's all Mexicans, all Americans, we all hate each other, we all fight, we're all rivals. For me, it was about the national team. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm sure you guys, I want you guys to give me your thoughts. We can get it all out. But I don't regret any of it. I don't have any shame in it. I made
There can't be
I think
any other
there's
choice
some-
you've made where you got more crap.
No, I mean, there's some regret in how, like holding a scarf that says my other team is Mexico was not smart, right? That was, I'm glad you guys think that's funny.
Woo, that's
It
an
was-
understatement.
I'll just tell you guys that it was an end of a long day. There was props, lots of different things. We were taking picture, whatever. Honestly, I didn't even see the scarf. I didn't even know what it was. But I should have been more aware of what I was doing. I wouldn't have made that choice. But as an overall decision, I have no shame in saying that I support, when Costa Rica's in the World Cup, I support them. When Canada's in the World Cup, obviously I support them. When Mexico's there, I support them. And,
Shoot, Mo's married to a Mexican, and you still root for them to lose.
And you still
it's
have
banter.
problems with it.
It's banter. I bet with her mom every day, every time that we play, and
You're up right now.
this generation got me nice right now, I'll tell you that much. I think, hearing the way you explain it there, it's...
But here's the problem, Mo. Let me start
Okay, go
real
ahead.
quick. And this is the problem in our country right now, and I'm glad we're doing this, because when you sit and talk about it, there's more nuance to everything. And the problem is we read a scarf, and you're like, oh my God, and you think something about it. Well, why don't we have a conversation and I can explain it? Nobody wants time for that. So in everything in our world now, it's like black or white, Trump or Biden, red or blue, this or that. And it's like, well, can we have some conversation, be some nuance about it? We're actually more similar than we think we are, right? So I just
No,
want to
that's
say
fair,
that.
but I also think that when we make decisions to do certain things, right, we have to also recognize that what we decide to put out there is going to be put under that microscope of where people have to just judge it because
For sure.
a conversation can't follow in every scenario, right? So like,
Well,
although
or
you-
people don't want to, and I'm guilty of this, you don't care about the conversation. You just want to make a decision on it, make up your mind about it, move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah, I hate doing things to where I have to now justify them.
Explain it, yeah.
I'm not perfect. I've said a lot of stupid shit, done a lot of stupid things to where
Hey, man.
I'm for. My initial thoughts were just like, my man done lost his damn mind. I said, this payday must have been crazy for him to do this. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
got
it was also,
paid.
I wouldn't have done it for free.
Yeah.
So how do we get you here then? How do we get you to come today, bro?
I did it for free.
so here's the real question: is Will
That's
Fargo
why,
willing to-
dude.
What would the money amount have to have been for you to go, okay?
I mean, I'm someone, when you talk about money,
You would never.
my ears perk up a little bit. But that situation,
eyes too?
Well, you have to.
I feel what you're saying.
You
in
have to
terms-
believe it. If you don't believe it, you're not going to.
Exactly. I feel what you're saying in terms of like you want to see CONCACAF teams do well because it makes your region look better and have more weight to qualifying in this region, and it gives you more like respect and credibility. But in terms of like that situation, that's a tough one for me. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you got to feel a certain way. You know what I mean? You had reasons to back the reason why you felt that way, and it's good to hear you explain that. But for me,
But you still think it's effed up, huh?
I don't think I could do
I think
that.
the hardest part is because it's him. When we think of U.S. soccer, the first names that are mentioned are yours. So you're almost like synonymous with that brand and with that, and you're laughing, and with U.S. soccer. And so like,
So
now
if
for
Timmy
you,
Chandler had gone and done it, you wouldn't have had a problem?
He would have said, I knew that.
I think there's going to be an immediate reaction if a U.S. player does this, or a Mexican player would have done the same thing. The reaction would have been crazy, just initial reaction. But I think for it to have such a lasting effect is more so because of who you are, right? And how you become
Yeah,
such a...
so we'll dive a little deeper here. Not that anyone cares, but we'll dive a little deeper. So I'm a realist, but I'm also an idealist. So in a perfect world, in my opinion, in a perfect world, and we're getting way deeper here, but I'll just say it, all borders wouldn't exist and we'd just be people, human beings, right? In a perfect world. You wouldn't be a Mexican or American, you'd just be human. You wouldn't be Afghani or Nigerian, you're just a human, right? I understand how the world works, why it is that way, how borders have come to be in countries, whatever. But to me, it just creates separation and like tribalism, fighting against each other, right? So I don't view I view a Mexican national team as a rival to us. And obviously no one took it more seriously than I did because I enjoyed beating their ass every time. But in a perfect world, we're all just human beings and we're not. Now, it's weird to say that because I competed against other countries for a living. But that's at my heart, that's what I believe. And so I have no problem.
If this was Mexico people in general, the country.
Well, that's why, but Charlie, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Like I have friends who like cry when Mexico loses. And I like seeing them happy and enjoying when Mexico does well. And that's why I've always felt that way about Mexicans.
Do you like just being different though? Is
It's
there part
not-
of you that just like
That's
enjoys
like Alexi,
riling people?
right? Like Alexi
Oh,
does it
okay.
just to do it, you know?
That's not you.
It's just the way I am. I don't do it. It's not calculated. I'm not trying to, it's just the way I think.
Let's say you saw Messi, for example, holding up, Barcelona didn't qualify for Champions League somehow, some way, and he's holding up the Real Madrid jersey saying, my other team is...
Brazil.
But no, I'm saying if we're not going to go to countries like...
Okay.
Because I feel like with club teams, sometimes, I feel like a club team is different than a national team, although the national team landscape
why
has
it's
changed because you can
Less
change,
tribal
you can
or more
choose...
tribal?
Less because you can choose your team, right?
I was just going to
Okay.
say, the difference is, Mo, you choose your club team.
Well, you
That's
can
what I'm
choo-
saying.
You don't choose
your
where you're born.
You can
That's
choose,
what I'm saying.
You can choose your country now.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I just said. That. It's a little bit...
Touche, Chuck. Touche.
I said that. I said it's a little bit different now. It's a little bit different now. My point is that I think the reaction would still be, the hell are you doing? Like if it's Messi holding up a Real Madrid jersey because...
For sure.
And that's not even as deep because that's not the country he plays for. That's not the birth country
But
for him.
he's part of the
It's
fabric.
wild that they thought to approach you. That's crazy to me that they thought, here's an idea. Let's go for Landon
Actually, it's
Donovan.
not how it happened.
Oh, how did it happen?
We actually spoke and talked about how we can, where it all initiated was, like every partner of the World Cup, Wells Fargo had, and by the way, I've been with Wells Fargo for 8-10 years, so I have a tight relationship with them.
You bank with them?
I do.
Okay, make sure.
Thank you.
Make sure you're that.
Thanks for having
Where's your money at?
I do bank with them.
Put your money where your mouth is.
I do.
Let me know where your accounts
all
are.
right, all right.
I don't mean, I
You
don't,
tight
by the way,
enough? You tight enough? You banking with them? All right.
So Wells Fargo, they
All right,
manage your
I'm
money?
believing. I'm starting to believe you a little bit
They
more.
made me money, yes. So they were worried, like everyone else, when the U.S. didn't qualify, how do we make this as successful as possible, right? Like Fox was worried because they had the rights. Univision, I think, had the rights. All the part Wells Fargo, Coca-Cola, everyone. It's like, okay, we just lost 30% of what our anticipated revenue because the U.S. isn't involved. So they came to us and said, what are some interesting ideas? And we just brainstormed whatever, and that's how it eventually came about. Well, what if we did something with Mexico? Because I want to support them and Costa Rica and everybody else in the World Cup, and that's how it all formulated. So it's not like they had
Was
an
it your
idea
idea?
and came. I don't remember how it all came about, but we all
It was his idea.
brainsning. I mean,
didn't see
eventually
it.
I
Bob
But
was
hey,
Costa Rica
and where was Costa Rica at in this?
Costa Rica like, hey, what the fuck?
we got screwed.
Costa Rica like, hey, ¿qué haces?
Thank you for watching. If you liked this episode of Kickin' It, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to enjoy more raw and unfiltered content from me and the boys.